What's going on, everybody? It's June 3rd. June 3rd, one more day of trading this week, tomorrow. But I had a decent day today. Now, my money is mostly still tied up in WeBull purgatory as I wait for my cash account to be converted to margin. So I am still waiting on that. So I'm still trading a little light, mostly doing some real short-term scalping options and things like that throughout the day, and generally not calling out as much stuff in Discord. I hope that by like Monday or Tuesday I should be like back in the full swing of things, and that'll be really nice. That'll be really nice. Yeah, as far as my job is concerned, I might be leaving it sooner than anticipated as well. So, I'm excited and a little nervous about that. But, primarily I want to talk about my Twitch right now is especially what I'm doing the most of. Since I can't really trade as much, I've been enjoying streaming every morning, and it's a great opportunity. More and more people join every morning and, ask questions. I look at tickers that people might ask about. And we generally just talk, and I, kind of, say, just speak out loud, think out loud, I guess. And, it's been a lot of fun, and live as things happen, generally it's easier to kind of come up with explanations and show things, as they happen. So, if that's something you're interested in, you can definitely check it out. It's twitch.tv/professor_Palmer. I'll put the link in the description of the YouTube video and all that. But if that is something you're interested in, obviously everybody's welcome. You don't have to subscribe or anything like that. It doesn't cost or what have you. So if you do find yourself just wanting to ask a question or shoot the shit in pre-market or whatever, you're more than welcome to do that. But actually, the reason I bring that up is in my Twitch today, somebody asked me, how do I set up my WeBull account? How do I set up my WeBull for trading, right? So I actually have three monitors. So the one that you see right here in front of me, this is my 24-inch computer monitor. This is the main thing that I'm either actively in a trade or my main watch. I'll usually have it up right here in front of me. It's a 2510 for just one ticker. Now this screen right here is actually a 55-inch flat screen TV that's hung up right behind my main computer, or my main monitor rather, and it's 2510 for two different tickers. So with the TV and the main screen, I'm looking at generally three, anywhere from 1 to 3 stocks at a time. I try to have up my main watches. Sometimes there's more than that I need to watch, so I'll thumb through some of the key ones. Now when I'm changing, I'll usually change it on this screen, as I can change it really quickly, as you can see. And then on my third screen, I actually have a it's like a TV screen. It's nothing pretty. I think it's this one. Yes. So I actually have a 3 orders. You can see here, 1, 2, 3. This is my option chain. And yeah, I mean that's about it. I keep Discord and Twitch chat and stuff open up here as well. But yeah, that's how I set it up, right? Now, how do I do that? So the first thing you'll do is you'll come here to new layout, right? And this is actually my mom's account, which is why you see her here. But you'll just do a blank one, and then you just add a widget, add chart. You make it as big as you need to make it. Customize it however you like, and you do a 10-minute, a 5-minute, and a 2-minute. Now, in order to do a separate window, you'll come up here and you'll clone this window or create a new window, and you'll do the exact same thing. And then you'll create a 2510 on that one, and you can drag that to another monitor. So yeah, that's how you set it. That's how I personally set it up. There might be a more streamlined way to do it or something that I'm not aware of, but that's how I have it for now, actually. So I'm not 100% sure I love WeBull yet. I'm not in love with it, but I'm starting to figure it out. I think that as long as I stick to it, I'll start to really get the hang of it. So without further ado, I guess we can jump into the trade review now. So yeah, the first thing I called out was Workhorse today. It was a beautiful mover in the morning. I actually made my whole day on a single trade here, and I ended up not trading anything else until I got to work, and I was just scalping like really short-term options. Which, if you follow my Twitter, I'm sorry, all I did was tweet about options today, and I know that I have been a little absent in that respect on Discord, so I do apologize for that. But once my money is back and I can mainly focus on, like, you know, trading equities the way that I like, buying shares and stuff, you know, I promise we'll be back into the swing of that. So anyways, at 8:43, so that would have been right here. So right in this candle's action, I called my zone of 1542 to 15. So let's do 1540. Oh no. My anytime my hotkeys don't work, I have to reset my layout. That's another. I love the drawing hotkeys, but they do sometimes get stuck. WeBull is just a little bit clunky. Thinkorswim is a lot more refined, I've come to find out. But, you know, we live and we learn. We'll get there. Eventually, I'll be like a pro at it, and you guys won't have to sit through these embarrassing these embarrassing adjustments. So anyways, 1542 was the top of my zone, and 15 even, right? Yes, 15 even. So 15 even is a pretty easily defined zone, right? 15 even, it's a whole dollar. We can come look at some pre-market levels, and wouldn't you know it, one of my favorite high probability setup, I say this time and time again, is a stock that kind of trades with an average range, you know, good volume, but not a crazy range, breaks out over the highs at the open, and then comes back to retest the pre-market high. Now, I don't care if it bounces and goes for the rest of the day, or if it bounces and then eventually, you know, fails later on. But, you know, you can almost always bet on a high probability setup that's going to utilize pre-market levels when it breaks out over the pre-market high like this. It's my absolute favorite play to take in the beginning of the day. I'll take it 10 out of 10 times. So anyways, you can see that I created the zone based on the bodies of these 10-minute candles. I gave myself, you know, 15 was the whole dollar. If you come to look at the 5, you know, there's some interaction there. It's basically an area where I was able to utilize the whole dollar as well as, you know, maybe a touch or two on the 5. But anyways, that's where the zone ended up being. And as you can see here, I ended up loading up on call options on this dip. So my stop loss is going to be down here, like 1454 or something like that. My first profit target was going to be here, and my second was going to be here. But I mean, this is a monster move. This is a monster move. Really quick, you got 80 cents off this. So it came down to fill. Gorgeous tap of the zone. You're talking about you being 6 cents off from the bottom of your zone, 7 cents off from the bottom of the zone. Gorgeous fill. I bought, you know, the same way that I level bids in my zone, I do it basically the same thing with options. So I'll buy 1 contract, lower the price a little bit, 2 contracts, lower the price a little bit, 3 contracts, or whatever. So in this case, I actually did call options. I bought, you know, loaded the boat and call options in this zone. I was immediately in the money up here. I decided to wait on it. So I came to look at this 2-minute chart right here. And I actually pointed this out in my Twitch stream that, like, the 20 SMA, gorgeous respect of the 20 SMA. And, you know, small bits of information like that you can really utilize and leverage to be like, okay, this stock has respected, you know, 5-minute. Like, if I make a zone on the 5-minute chart and it respects that more than a zone I make on the 10-minute chart, you know, then maybe I'll be more inclined to pay closer attention to 5-minute levels. You know, you can learn a lot about a ticker just based on information. You know, I did a lot of that on my Twitch stream today as well. There was a couple of zones that I called that were not filled. They were a little too low. So what I like to do then, and I kind of discussed it there, was I like to, you know, I'll go choose a zone that would have been perfect. I'll say, okay, the range of 1580 down to 1516. And then I'll come over here, I'll look left, and I say, okay, what could I have based that zone off of so that I could have had that better zone? And I'll notice, like, maybe there's 5-minute levels or even 2-minute levels that I could have based off of. And then I'll, you know, for the rest of the day as I'm trading that ticker, I'll keep that in the back of my head, and, you know, maybe that'll affect how I make a zone in the future. Anyways, we ended up getting filled right here. I mean, the options work a little differently, but you're essentially getting filled at, as low as 1507. If you put a bid at the very bottom of the zone, it wouldn't have gotten filled, but you would have gotten filled on everything else. It literally never went against you. So as soon as you were filled in your max or close to your max down here, you were only in the money from that point forward. I mean, shit, you weren't even back to break even for another and a whole nother hour. But still, obviously, I hope you didn't hold that long. So right here, immediately hits first price target. Now, one thing that's interesting, and I talk about adding to winners a lot, especially on a move that's like this, that respects a zone or respects a key indicator like the 20 so well. You can see that on the 10, you're creating a 3-bar play. Now, by the time that this came to be, you were already up in this move. So, it would have been an obvious, oh shit, a 3-bar play. You know what I mean? But what you could have done is assessed, big engulfing candle, small pullback candle, and said, okay, I'm going to play this with this wick to fill the zone and this candle closing up here. You could have been up here in this move at 950 to about there and been like, okay, I'm going to play it as if this next candle that comes up is a 3-bar play. So you could have kind of anticipated the pattern there. I didn't. That wasn't, the driving force of my trade or whatever. I was kind of happy with what I was seeing as the 2-minute chart was guiding me. The 5-minute chart looked pretty good as well. Again, I believe a lot in the high probability setup of gap up high, test pre-market for a secondary bounce. So all those things collectively gave me a lot of confidence. So I ended up not scaling out, but a single option contract right here. Now, if I was in shares, I would have considered adding to my winner because the action of which it came up, again, it never went against me, which already shows you strength. That tells you, damn, I caught the bottom. You know what I mean? When you can watch a couple of candles go by and it's trending upwards and it looks like the move is showing you confirmation in the uptrend direction, you can safely assume like, damn, okay, I caught the move. At the very bottom, I caught the bottom, which is great, right? Because that gives you a lot of confidence, It gives you a lot of confidence to, double your size. Like, had you doubled your size right here, let's say you took this is an 80-cent move. Just from here to there. Just an 80-cent move. Had you doubled your size at this first profit target or sold half and let it run, you're making another, 60 cents. And this trade only took 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes for this whole trade to come to be. And you're taking a 15 to 60, that's $1.70 move. Like that, you'll make your whole week on a trade like that. And I loaded the boat on options. I only ended up with 5 contracts total, but it was enough for me to sell as soon as it broke through VWAP here. I sold on that pop, and I made my whole day. I actually was done trading for the day. I went and started trading on my small account with, a couple $100 in it as I just scalped options throughout the day. But, that was that. Gorgeous move. Let's say hypothetically that you chose to add to your winner, seeing this huge strength, this huge pop. You double your size at a market order right here, raise your stop to break even, and then pop, or even sell half and then add some, or you could do it a whole bunch of ways. But let's say that you took 1,000 shares right here. You're up $800 on 80 cents. If you're risking $100 and your stop was down here at 1450, you would take 200 shares right here. So you would have made $400 on that move. No, that's not right. 80 cents is, yeah, $400, right? No. That can't be. $160. Sorry, I'm terrible at math. In the wrong business. Anyways, pretend I didn't say that. Let's say that you're risking $100. You risked $100, you made $200. Easy, right? Close to it. But let's say you doubled your size here and you're in 400 shares, and then you catch it for another move, you're doubling your gains for the day. If you saw and you added to your winner and you doubled or tripled your size just for another minute and then sold on a pop above the next, key indicator, whether it be VWAP or your next profit target or whatever, that just short little time period where you were in heavy, and again, remember, you move your risk up, so you're not risking extra because your stop has moved up to adjust. You're just trying to take advantage of either you get stopped out for break even or you catch a big move. And if you get stopped out of stopped out of that 7 out of 10 times, but those 3 times that you don't, you take huge moves. Like, you can make a whole career being 30% correct. The key is to get a good entry, identify that you're getting confirmation away, knowing that you assessed at the bottom, and then, going all in. So yeah, that's a great opportunity to add to a winner right there. You could have identified adding to the winner at this break of this profit target, seeing this pop. It pulled back below VWAP. You could have loaded the boat there for the next rally over, and you could have sold on that pop. You don't even have to hold it the whole way. I mean, if you did, you could have made $2, $2.50. But the point is that you can extend scalps, or still be in a scalp. I mean, look at this 5-minute candle, gorgeous. You could have seen this break through here, such strength. Watch the 2 for an extra 2 minutes of your time, double, triple your size. You can take an extremely short-term trade, 10 minutes max, and make your whole week on it. So, I will challenge you to, don't go out and blow up your accounts because you're adding to winners on my account. But instead of adding to your winners, just do the first step, which is identify mentally. Say as a trade goes in your direction, say, okay, this is confirmation. If I were to add to a winner, I would be interested in doing it right here based on what I'm seeing. And then see what the chart does next. You don't actually have to do it, but just mentally try to get to the point where you're identifying that confirmation of this is a winning hand. I want to go all in. So yeah, that is some quote unquote homework. But if you can do that and you can get used to that, by the time that it comes where you want to implement adding to winners, you're going to have a much easier time to do it because you've already proven to yourself the information that is necessary for you to take confidence in the fact that, yeah, I know, for a week I've been spotting these mentally. So yeah, anyways, that was a single trade and a bit of a tangent, but I like adding to winners. It is a good way to you can make a swing trader's worth of money on a scalp sometimes. It's freaking nuts. So yeah, Workhorse, gorgeous trade. I ended up being done for the day. I don't know how much else I called out. GTT, I called out in chat. 854. Now, there were some things we discussed on my Twitch I didn't call out in Discord. So 854, so right here in this action. Oh, actually, right here in this action. So during this candle, I identified a zone of 392 to 374. So 392 to 374. Oh, right down here. Close enough. Now, what did I base that off of? Obviously, you can see that this wick was responsible for 374. And then up here, this area was responsible for the 392, as well as this wick here. Now, obviously, until much later, this zone didn't come into effect. I was trying to capture the move right here. So on my Twitch stream, I said, okay, well, ideally, 392 as the bottom would have been great, and say 4 or 407 or 405 would have been the better top of the zone. Now, because I called the move, in this range up here, right in this area, I couldn't base it off of these wicks because those wicks hadn't happened yet, right? So we look left and we see, where could I have based this? Maybe if I utilized the wicks of these on this 5-minute chart, maybe if I had, instead of using this 10, which, you still got those wicks there, maybe in the future, I could have done that, recognizing the strength. But, those are the things that are worth looking at, not because you need to be in every trade, but more so, what could I have done better? Or let me notice, if I notice it, oh yeah, that's respecting 5-minute chart levels way more than 10. Well, then as I plan to take this trade in the future on GTT, maybe I'll, mostly base my thesis off of 5-minute levels. So it's good that even if you miss a move or if you take a losing trade, to immediately, while you're still looking at it, say, okay, what could I have done to make that the opposite? Or what could I have done to take advantage of it or make it a loser a winner? While it's fresh in your mind, to look at it, because that's when you're most likely to soak in that info and be like, oh, okay, yeah, it stings right now, but in the future, I'm going to remember this. So yeah, I ended up not getting filled. I ended up, somebody messaged me and was like, dude, I took your zone. And I was like, dude, that was like an hour ago. But he did end up taking the zone here for a, 30-cent move or whatever. So the zone did end up coming into effect that we made based on, and a gorgeous one at that. Look at that beautiful bounce. and that was based off of these levels. So for people who ask me how to make my zones, that's how I do it. Not all of them are perfect. I miss sometimes. I miss a lot, but the ones that I do get are pretty high accuracy winners when I do get into a trade, and that's just simply because I put it so low that it either goes without me or I get in at a good entry. Like, those are usually my only options. If I chase or I'm trying to play something that's not really pulling back very well on the day, that's generally when I get stopped out the hardest. So you get used to it. You really do. I have the luxury of, as I built my system and I back tested and worked my butt off to put something together that worked for me, I have all of that data and all of those days of experience to have confidence in my moves and kind of get used to making zones. So don't feel too bad if you're not getting it right away, or it's just a learning process like anything else is. So CLNE was actually another one that I believe I missed based on my zone. I called in Discord. Somebody brought this one up to me in chat on Twitch, and it was a beautiful mover. Oh, wait, I ended up changing my zone on GTT and taking a winner. That's right, that's right. Yeah, so we must have done that on Twitch because I didn't call the zone out. That ended up being, 30 minutes later. So I ended up taking this zone that you see here. Sorry, I don't have a whole lot to say about it because I don't really remember what happened. But it looks like I had addressed my issues here and rezoned and then ended up taking this one. And I took that one with options as well. Anyways, so CLNE, somebody brought up to me on chat. I said 929 to 915. Again, you're only getting like half the information if you're not watching my Twitch. I apologize. I need to do a better job of, saying it in both channels. 915. So this is the zone I made based on. I don't even remember what it was based on. Oh, it looks like body, wick. And that was right here. And just like the last example, you didn't get filled. So what did I do? I said, okay, well, obviously the better zone would have been, maybe right here. Oops, sorry. Maybe right here, right? Maybe this would have been the zone. And then again, I look left and I say, well, how could I have assessed that? I could have used the bottom, this wick or this candle body here as the bottom. This candle body here hadn't formed yet on this 10 minutes, so I couldn't use that. And sometimes you just look and you're like, well, maybe I could have used a 2-minute level. And that's something going forward that with CLNE I'll keep in mind that maybe 2-minute levels are a little bit more in play with this ticker to really dial in the accuracy. Who knows? So again, I ended up not getting filled. It ended up bouncing for a great move. You could have, if you took it at the bottom and sold it at the top in a perfect world, that's 30 cents. But you don't get filled on all of them. But one thing I love about this system is that when you're wrong and you don't get filled, it costs you $0 to be wrong, which is nice considering the alternative. I ended up taking RMO $10 strike of 10 calls. I got them for 20 cents a pop. Ended up selling them for like 60 cents a pop. That was a great move. That was based less on the chart and more on just how the pure volume and push up. So I bought them right around this range on this pullback here. 10 was really close. So you're only 20 cents out of the money on those option calls, and volume was still good, open interest was still good, and they were cheap. 20 cents to be 20-cent contracts to be 20 cents out of the money on the chart is pretty decent. Really quick scalp. That one was called out by Manziel, not Johnny Manziel, but an Atlas trader named Manziel. Brilliant option scalper. I love scalping options. I do a lot of it just personally because it's not really something the Momo floor discusses. And he's starting to get a lot more people into it because he's so good, and he makes great call outs on Twitter. So if you're interested in learning about options, definitely go give him a follow on Twitter. He is his Twitter in the past few days has gained thousands of followers, and it's all very, very well deserved. He's a genius. So yeah, just wanted to touch on that. That was it. BlackBerry, I was considering adding calls. I did a lot of EV sector calls. I ended up, we can talk about AMC actually. So AMC, again, I talked about it yesterday. I didn't want to play it. After it rallied from its reversal here and went a little bit apeshit, no pun intended, it trended up in this nice trend here. So after I saw it kind of curve up and start to fail, I ended up taking a short position. So I ended up taking puts I called it out in chat. I said if it fails the trend line here, I'm taking quick puts for a move downward. So I got filled right at here at the test of the trend. My stop is like real tight right up here, really risking very little on these options. And it failed the trend line really quickly, and I filled really quickly. I wasn't waiting. You can see how quick that move was. It rejected. I sold. I filled. I wasn't waiting for VWAP to send it back up or anything like that. Not letting options come against me. I sold really quickly. So I made like a really great trade on that. I ended up making a couple $100 on like a really small account, which is awesome. It did end up coming up, and I called it out in Discord. I said, watch the interaction with the trend line. You're looking at like a $58 range. If it comes up to there and rejects, you're looking at a big move to the downside. And I took puts again at about 57.5, I think is where I started watching. And I would consider like I was going to add a contract, maybe add a couple more as it came up to the trend line support. That way I'd get a lot of value out of the push down. But I ended up only getting like one or two filled because it didn't come up all the way to test it. But it did reject. And I made another really great move. I mean, you're talking $4 or $5 right there on that action. And options, move really quick. So I'm in, I'm out very, very fast. I don't hold on to losers very long because options, when they come against you, they come against you quick. When they go in your favor, they go in your favor quick. So I do not hold through the pain on options. If it's going against me and I don't like it, I immediately sell. I'll wait for a price to kind of finish going against me, and then I'll consider buying back in at a cheaper rate and looking for the same move. Options, I believe, entries are significantly more important than they are with shares. So keep that in mind if you are attempting to get into the options space. I love options. I trade options every day. But there is a little bit, I just scalp them, mostly weeklies. I try not to do a whole lot of one-day expirations, things like that. But, it's something that a lot of people are messaging me more about, so I'm trying to kind of mix it in a little bit with these discussions here. But yeah, that was it for me today. Again, real light day. I had a great day on what I did trade. I just, wasn't in things super huge size. Mostly was doing options because they're, a little bit more simplistic. You either get in or you don't kind of thing. You don't have to watch the chart as much. You can kind of just play the spreads on the bid and the ask. But again, if you are interested in scalping options and you want a good Twitter account that's going to turn on the alerts, he tweets out his options ideas, and he's not just like anybody who's trading or trying to do the damn thing. He's not right all the time, and you can't expect him to be. I'll tell you one thing that I hate real quick before we go. Just one thing I hate is when, let's say like Tommy or Gary or Hugh or any of these guys with decent followings, when they tweet out an idea, and then they tweet out later that when they lost on that trade, they tweet out sorry to my followers, sorry. That drives me crazy, right? Because it's not their responsibility to apologize, because it's not their fault. Like, odds are most likely that they lost in that trade just like any other followers who took it, right? And their intention was never to be like, I want people who respect me to lose money. That's never the idea. I know that they feel the need to apologize because they feel bad that people lost on it, but that precedent is kind of set in people's minds where it's like these guys that know what they're talking about, I'm expecting them to be right. But it's still the stock market, right? It's still speculation. It's still a thesis with a probability, with an edge, sure. Maybe you have an advantage or there's a pattern you're liking or, any of that can be true. But to expect these people to be right all the time and then to apologize when they're not is simply not fair. So I try to tell people that if you're following a guy you have a lot of respect for, somebody you're trying to learn from, don't beat them up when they're wrong because, odds are they lost money too. in a lot of cases, probably more money. Some of the level some of these guys are trading at is pretty nutty. But it's a stock market, and you're gonna be wrong sometimes. You can be some. I know some brilliant traders that are wrong most of the time, but when they're right so hard that it pays for it and then some. There's a guy in my firm, one of the big. He trades with like a $2 million account, and he has like a 30% win rate because if a trade goes against him, immediately cuts it. So sometimes he has 5 or 6 quick losers for like really small amounts, because he size is huge, and as soon as it turns again, as soon as price doesn't go the direction he wants, he cuts it. So he'll take 5, 6, 7 losses real quick like that before he gets one winner that immediately goes in his direction and pays for twice as much as all those losers. So it's very important to remember that like being right all the time is not the most important thing. What's the most important thing is when you're wrong to identify it quickly, and when you're right to take advantage of it and make it worth it. So again, just a small rant. I took some melatonin, so your boy's getting a little fuzzy. But that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Always a pleasure to do these. It's been great having people show up to my Twitch chat and talk. So if you guys are interested in doing that, I try to answer as many questions as I can. Again, I actually just noticed before I hopped on here that a lot of people have messaged me on Twitter. So if I haven't gotten back to you, I totally apologize. I didn't realize that like a lot of them go to like a message request folder. So if I don't actively look for it, I don't get notified. So I'm going to try to do, I set it to alert me from now on. So hopefully I'll get back to you all now, and hopefully in the future I'm a little bit better about that. But again, Discord, Twitter, Twitch, however you guys want to get a hold of me. I'm always happy to answer any questions. Hopefully in a timely manner. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and please finish the week strong tomorrow, Friday. Have an amazing day of trades. I will see you in the morning, and let's go into the weekend with some extra money in our pocket. Have a great one, guys. Be well, and I'll see you then.